Hello drone racers, I'm Mark and today on Drone Racer 101 I'm going to take a look at the Eachine EX2 Mini. Now this is everything that you get with it except for the manuals. The manuals come with a quick start guide and then a full guide and they're pretty good. This is the full FPV version. You can also get it without a camera. You can get it with a camera. So I'm going to evaluate the whole version today here, and it's an additional $50 to get the camera and the goggles. So we're going to see if it's worth it, or maybe if you should get this drone but take another option. I'm not sure yet. I haven't flown it, so we're going to find out. You get a bunch of stuff with this. You get the drone itself that we'll take a look at again in a minute. You get an FPV monitor. You get a remote control. It is in mode 2. You get prop guards that I will not be installing. You get a USB cord for charging the monitor. You get a set of goggles. We'll take a look at that again here in a minute. You get one battery and a charger for that battery, some extra props, a screwdriver, and a tool to change the props. So I want to say this is a toy drone. This is not a racing drone. This is not a high-end drone. It's a toy drone. It's made for someone who's had a Hubsan that they've flown just around their house line of sight, or an Eachine E10, whatever they've flown. They say, hey, I want to try FPV. Look, here's a kit. I'll just get that. So if you're talking about building your own drone, you want to get into racing, this is not the one for you. But for a lot of people, they don't want to do that. They just want something more advanced that they can fly better. And this might just be it because it has some great features. It has brushless motors. These are 1306/2750 motors, which is not a bad size for this. This is basically a 3-inch. I don't think these props are quite 3 inches. I haven't been able to find any indicator of what these props actually are. They are proprietary for this, but they do give you a spare set, so that's nice. It does come with a FPV camera. Now, the biggest problem I see, there's no angle, or there's basically no angle to this camera, so that could be a problem. We're gonna find out. The top of this pops off. You just kind of grab here and it pulls over. Try and not break it though. So we do have components, and it does appear that they are replaceable. So one of the biggest deals about this is most of the models like this come with Wi-Fi FPV, and it is garbage, absolutely terrible garbage. This uses 5.8 gigahertz FPV. You have to take the top off, and there's a little button here to change the channel. Now you can get a better look at the camera. What I'm really curious of though is whether we would be better off getting the non-camera version, putting in our own camera, and spending that money on a little bit better set of goggles. I'm just not sure yet. We're gonna find out. We'll decide that at the end. So while we do have replacement parts available, they're all detailed out. Everything is soldered on here, and I don't think I would want to change these connectors. This is the Esc Board. It's getting power from the battery. It's then connecting to the motors with 3 wires because these are brushless, and then it's providing power to the flight controller here. And these do not look easy to replace at all to me. One thing I want to point out, you see here, here's the connector. When you have this, you got to take that off before you can connect it. The battery will not fit on with that on, so it ships with that piece on there. It does have a buzzer, so when there's a low battery, it will buzz and beep at you, but it also has telemetry back to the radio, so the radio will beep at you at low battery too, which is really nice. The top just pops back on here. I'm afraid eventually that'll break, but you don't have to do that very often, just when you want to change channels. So the radio on this isn't too bad. It's nice long gimbals. They're very lightweight. They're plasticky, they're not amazing, but this is a pretty cheap model. It's really well laid out, and the buttons are very clear on what they do. So the drone does have LEDs underneath it that you can turn on and off. This button has several purposes. It will arm the quad, so you press it once to arm, you hold it down to disarm. Also, when you want to set this up, and when you get this the first time, you need to hold down this button and turn it on, then plug in your model, and that will bind the radio to the quadcopter. They did not come bound from the factory, at least mine didn't. There's a low high switch, so by default it comes on low speed, which is kind of nice for somebody getting started, and then you can press that with one button. There's a high speed. There's not 3 like a lot of them. There's only 2, but hey, it's still there. And then we have a camera button, which does absolutely nothing on this model. On the back we have a L1 button, so if you're in angle mode, you'll use that for rolls and flips. And you mentioned I said angle mode. Yes, there is a switch here, so you can do angle mode or acro mode. Now I think it's interesting, there's a little X here, see this? If you pull it down and you don't go quite far enough, it'll kind of get stuck here in the middle, and there's an X there saying like, do not use it on this mode, it's broken, don't do that, go all the way down. Like, okay, that's good. It's actually nice they pointed it out, because I can imagine that would be problematic for some people. It'd be nice if this was labeled a little better. One is angle and 2 is acro or rate mode. I have powered it on. It does also seem to have air mode enabled. We'll find out what happens when we're outside. If you are new to FPV, angle mode means it will self-correct. So if you have flown line of sight quads and you are pushing to go one direction, you let go of the stick, it self-levels and stops flying. That's what angle mode is. That's how that will work. Mode 2, acro mode, is how FPV racers fly, at least outside. And it flies like an RC helicopter or an airplane, where when you push the stick, that's how far it leans the quad, and then it will just stay at that angle until you tell it to go backwards. It will not automatically level. So it's more advanced, but it actually gives you a lot more control. So then we have the monitor itself. It comes with this cover available, so you can put that on if you want to fly this way and you just want to look at it. You can absolutely do that. But then this comes off, and you have access to all the buttons. It's actually really well laid out. Here's the on-off switch, and you can change the channel brightness color. This will also, because it has telemetry, will show you your signal quality, and then your charge. It's USB charged using the cable that it came with. It's just micro USB. So this is mounted on here with this little round adapter here. We'll just take this off for now. So you see that there. This part actually wasn't installed from the factory. To take it out, you press that and pull up, and it came with this, which is just a little fill plug there. And it does all of that because you have the goggles that open up and have a slot in them. So now we have full FPV view. Now you can't turn it on and off from in there. We have to turn this on and slide it in there, but it slides in there pretty nice. There is a Fresnel lens, and it looks super clear, and it's a big field of view, but it's not too big. I think it's pretty good. But if you notice something that's missing, where's the antenna? Is it right-hand polarized, left-hand polarized? There is no external antenna with this. It's probably just an internal linear antenna. The quad is the same way. There's no antenna sticking up. So that's probably going to be the weak point, especially for range. I think the radio will probably outrange the FPV. First though, we're going to answer the question, how long will it fly? Now this is just a hover test, but everyone wants to know, oh, how long will it fly? Well, I don't know. Let's go find out. So that's just hovering, but 9 minutes is pretty darn good. That is a long flight time. So if I get 5 or 6 outside, that is way better than most racing drones. And these motors, they spin pretty quick. They may turn out to be all right. 2750 motors with light blades, they could be pretty quick. I'm hoping at least. I got a really good feel for it hovering. It felt like it had a bunch of power. It hovered right at a third stick where you want it to, and it had lots of room to go. But I think that's enough for inside. Let's take it outside. I can see out my window right now. It's really windy, so I don't know how this will go. So one more thing that's a little weird. The antennas, they bend this way. They bend away from you. I mean, it should technically work, but it seems like it's more likely to have to go through the radio. I don't know that I like that, but probably not a big deal. So for this first test, I'm gonna go up to 1, so I'm gonna test this in angle. We'll test the flips and rolls and that kind of stuff. Turn on the radio, plug in the battery. See, it beeps just like any other quad. Those are brushless motors and they hooray to go. All right, so we'll just do a hover test. We'll click arm, there we go. And see that the motors are already spinning. That means it's probably similar to air mode, or at least idle up. I don't know that I like that, but that's what we got. So take it off and hover. It's not loud. You wouldn't expect it to be. You can see the LEDs. I'll hit the LED button. There they turn on and off. Not a big deal, but kind of cool. So this is in speed 1. It's low right now. And it's still pretty quick. You know, it's still pretty quick, even on low. Let's see if we can go back and forth and get a better view. I mean, it's snappy. And that's not bad on low. Let's switch to high. Oh, it's not air mode. You see that? You kill the throttle, it's not enough to keep it level. So it is not real air mode. So now we're on high. Wait, are we? There we go, now we're on high. It beeped twice that time. I knew I'm on high now. Okay, you can see definitely a difference. It's pretty quick. I don't know what the range will be. We'll fully test that later. So then we've got an option for flips and rolls. Pushing the button on the bottom. There we go. Back here. quick. Will it flip forward? Yep, sure will. All right, well, I want to get some goggles on and try this. So you hold down the button to turn it off. There you go, that'll disable it. So these goggles are not big enough to fit with my glasses, so I'm gonna have to take those off. So these goggles are 16:9 format. I don't know if the camera actually is. The head strap comes kind of like it's made for a kid. I had to loosen it up all the way, but there's not too bad. It's comfortable, it looks good, it's a little pixelated, it's not a high resolution. So because it's analog, there is no latency, which is good. The camera, is very wobbly. It kind of reminds me of my first drone, and it's very small field of view in this camera. Oh, we have golfers. Whoa, where am I? Not that way, don't go over there. Let's come down and stay low. Oh yeah, no air mode. Okay, so it's definitely not, I don't know if it's the camera yet or if it's the goggles, but I'm in low mode. Jeez, that's rough. It's pretty rough. I mean, it's FPV, so I've got FPV that I haven't had before. Oh, golfers, stay away from them. Got a bug on my ear. It's gonna drive me crazy. Now I wish I could switch to angle or acro mode right here, but I can't. You have to land it and take off again. You've got to land it, reboot everything. There we go. Now in low mode, you've got really good control though. It's pretty choppy on turns. It's not even prop wash. Alright, I want to see what happens if I turn it. I'm a little nervous to turn it to high mode. I'm going to. There we go, we're on high mode now. Okay. Camera field of view is kind of an issue. So I want to try it on angle mode though, see what happens. So to switch to angle mode, I'm going to take the battery out of the drone. And I get telemetry warning. I'm going to turn off the radio. I'm going to switch it now to switch 2. Turn the radio back on, and I'll turn the quad back on. It's like when it boots, it just boots in that mode. There we go. There was the warning. Hey, you're in acro mode. I'll tell you, I'm a little nervous. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's see how far it'll go. Okay, there. Oh, okay, I'm going to ditch it. I'm going to bail. Gotta bail. Okay, I'm going to go find it. Low signal. That was about 150 meters. Oh, is that it? Nope, that's not it. Seriously, it's right here. Right there it is. Hey! Lost model alarm built in. That's awesome. Yay! So it's a built-in lost model buzzer. That's awesome. That's how I found it. I turned the radio off, it killed the props, and then it started beeping, and I just walked out there till I found it. I also used my DVR to find out where it was, and that's what the video that you've been seeing. The built-in goggles does not come with a DVR, so one of the options is to use another set of goggles. These are about $100. These are the ones I recommend as starters for everybody. What I want to find out is, with these, do I get better range with this, with the built-in camera? So should we get this camera and then get a different set of goggles and have a lot better experience? Because I didn't lose signal, I only lost video, or at least I lost video and I decided to bail because I didn't want to crash into a golfer or a house. So I'm going to try it again wearing these with a directional antenna that'll be better, see if I can see out better and see if I can tell really what the range of this thing is. I made about 150 meters, so I was pretty happy with that to start with though. Alright, so I'm still on the original battery, but I want to take this out and we're going to start it going. I'm going to go in angle mode just because I want to have absolute control over it. And I think a lot of people who are looking at this really are going to want to fly it in angle. For racers, I recommend acro and learn acro as soon as you can. But for these kind of tests, I like angle. Let's focus my goggles that way a little better. And I like angle because it's easier to keep control. Let's see there, we're still going. Okay, so my radio just beeped at me saying I've got a little bit of a low signal, but I've still got video even with that built-in camera. And there I'm right at 200 meters with full control. Yep, no control problems, and video with the built-in camera. So here's my dilemma with this. I mean, it flies okay, but it's pretty choppy. It's a pretty good deal for the combo for everything that you get together, but I almost think you'd be better off getting an LDARC Tiny 7X and then getting the LDARC 8X radio to go with it. This isn't an amazing radio, but for the price, for that combination, it's about the same price. And then you can spend $50 on goggles and you're a little more expensive, but you're a lot better off in the long run because those are a lot better goggles. And this is a radio that you can fly and you can change and set this up with FrSky. I've got a video for that if you want to do that. My DVR cut out and I didn't notice because I wasn't wearing it because I was trying to review the goggles. But the camera on this is probably the worst part. If they put a decent camera with a good field of view, a little bit acceptable field of view, it could have been a whole different story, but that's the big downfall. And you could replace the camera in it, but by the time you go through all of that, I think you're just better off with another option. I did find out you can adjust the camera angle, and hey, look at that. As long as you don't mind losing half of your field of view, you can get a pretty good camera angle right out of the box. The sad part is it's almost really good. It's almost a great first option. I think there are people who will be happy with this because it's a much better FPV experience than a lot of the other garbage out there. It's so close, it's just not quite there. It's just not quite there. Maybe the EX3 will be amazing. Eachine, hit me up. We'll get that worked out. We'll get this fixed and it'll be great. So if you found this useful, leave a like and a comment down below and let me know, do you think this is a good option? Am I not giving it enough credit, or should we just move on to something else? So until next time, remember, it was usable though, so it's going in the giveaway.